Beloved, before you react, before you send that message, before you confront the person who has been provoking you, pause for a moment. Take a breath. There is a reason you were led to hear this message today. You have been carrying words inside you. You know exactly what you could say. You have evidence. You remember every detail. You could defend yourself, reveal what happened, and tell everyone the truth. Part of you believes that remaining silent will make you look weak. But God is reminding you of something important. Your silence is not weakness when it is guided by wisdom. Your restraint is not defeat when God is asking you to step back. And your refusal to react does not mean that your enemies are winning. It means you have decided not to interrupt what God is already doing. The Lord will fight for you, you need only to be still. That promise from Exodus 14:14 was spoken when the people of Israel were trapped between the sea and an approaching enemy. There appeared to be no escape. Behind them was danger, in front of them was an impossible barrier. Their fear told them to panic. Their circumstances told them that everything was over. But God told them to be still. He was not asking them to pretend that the danger was not real. He was asking them to stop believing that the outcome depended entirely on their own strength. And that may be what God is asking from you right now. Do not react. Do not let anger make your decision. Do not allow one painful moment to pull you out of the character God has been developing within you. Someone may be trying to provoke a response from you. They may be waiting for you to lose your peace, raise your voice, or say something that can later be used against you. They may believe your silence means you have nothing to say. But heaven knows the truth. You are silent because you have said enough. You are silent because God has shown you that another argument will not produce understanding. You are silent because you are beginning to recognize that some people do not ask questions because they want the truth. They ask questions because they want another opportunity to twist your words. This time, do not give them what they are expecting. Give the situation to God. Type "God, I will not react" in the comments as a declaration of trust. Not because you are afraid. Not because you are powerless. But because you understand that every battle does not require your voice. Some battles are won through action. Some battles are won through prayer. And some battles are won when you refuse to become the person your enemies are trying to provoke you into becoming. You have already noticed the pattern. They say something disrespectful and then they watch your face. They create confusion and then they wait for you to explain yourself. They disturb your peace and then they act surprised when you respond emotionally. But this season will be different. God is teaching you to recognize the trap before you step into it. You will not react to every rumor. You will not answer every accusation. You will not chase every person who chooses to misunderstand you. You will not exhaust yourself trying to convince people who have already decided what they want to believe. Your peace is becoming too valuable to sacrifice for temporary satisfaction. There was a time when proving your point felt necessary. You believed that if you could only explain things more clearly, people would finally understand. You thought that if you showed them enough evidence, they would admit what they had done. But some people already know the truth. Their problem is not confusion. Their problem is that the truth does not support the story they created about you. God sees this. He sees what was said when you were not in the room. He sees the private conversations. He sees the intentions behind the smiles. He sees the people who encouraged you publicly but secretly hoped you would fail. Nothing has been hidden from him. And because nothing has been hidden from him, you do not need to destroy your peace trying to expose everything yourself. Romans 12 reminds us not to take revenge into our own hands, but to leave room for God's justice. That does not mean God is inviting you to sit and imagine terrible things happening to others. It means you can release the responsibility of judgment. You do not have to punish anyone. You do not have to create their consequences. You do not have to become bitter while waiting for justice. God knows how to reveal what needs to be revealed. He knows how to separate you from harmful people. He knows how to close doors that should no longer remain open. He knows how to remove masks without your help. And he knows how to defend your name in rooms you cannot enter. Do not react. Watch what God does next. Your enemies may expect an argument, but God may answer them with your progress. They may expect you to collapse, but God may answer them with your stability. They may expect you to chase them for acceptance, but God may answer them by placing you among people who recognize your value without needing to be convinced. The answer may not come in the form you expected. God may not embarrass them publicly. He may simply remove their access to you. He may give you peace where they expected emotional chaos. He may cause their own words to reveal their intentions. He may allow the truth to emerge naturally without you having to force it. He may open a door for you that makes the door they closed seem insignificant. Sometimes the greatest form of vindication is not watching another person fall. It is realizing that what they did could not stop what God placed upon your life. Joseph understood this. His brothers envied him, they rejected him. They removed him from his home and believed they had ended his future. From their perspective, Joseph had disappeared. They continued living while he was taken into a foreign land. Then Joseph was falsely accused and placed in prison. He had every reason to become consumed by anger. He could have spent every day imagining how he would repay everyone who had harmed him. But bitterness would not have prepared him for the position God was leading him toward. Joseph did not know when the prison door would open. He did not know that his ability to interpret dreams would eventually place him before Pharaoh. He did not know that the people who rejected him would one day stand before him, needing the provision God had placed under his authority. But God knew. While Joseph was waiting, God was arranging the moment. While Joseph appeared forgotten, God was developing his wisdom. While his enemies believed they had removed him, God was repositioning him. And when the time came, Joseph did not need to announce himself. His position spoke for him. His character spoke for him. The fulfillment of God's plan spoke for him. What his brothers intended for harm, God transformed into preservation. That is why you must be careful with your reaction. You do not know what God is building from this situation. You do not know how close you may be to understanding why certain people had to leave. You do not know what opportunity is being prepared behind a door you cannot yet see. A reaction made in anger can create consequences that continue long after the emotion has passed. But a decision made in wisdom can protect the future God is preparing. Your enemies may be trying to pull you backward while God is calling you forward. Do not turn around just because they mentioned your name. Do not return to an old version of yourself just because someone knows which wound to touch. You have grown too much to keep responding the same way. The old you needed the final word. The new you needs peace. The old you wanted everyone to understand. The new you understands that God sees everything. The old you reacted immediately. The new you pauses, prays, and asks, will this response honor the person I am becoming? This is spiritual maturity. It is not pretending that you were not hurt. It is not allowing people to mistreat you without boundaries. It is not remaining in dangerous or abusive situations. Wisdom may require distance. Wisdom may require you to say no. Wisdom may require you to document what happened, seek help, or speak with someone trustworthy. But there is a difference between taking wise action and reacting from uncontrolled anger. God is not asking you to ignore reality. He is teaching you not to surrender control of your behavior to someone else's actions. Stay with me because this next part may explain why the pressure has felt so intense. The enemy does not always need to destroy your opportunity. Sometimes he only needs to provoke you into destroying it yourself. He cannot always close the door God opened, so he tries to make you walk away from it emotionally. He cannot remove the blessing, so he tries to disturb your peace until you can no longer recognize the blessing. He cannot change what God has spoken over your life, so he tries to make you react in a way that creates unnecessary delay. That is why the provocation often becomes strongest before a breakthrough. You may notice people suddenly behaving differently. Old conflicts may return. Someone from your past may contact you. A rumor may reach your ears. An accusation may appear at the exact moment you are trying to move forward. Before responding, ask yourself a simple question. Is this situation worthy of the peace it will cost me? Not every invitation deserves acceptance. Not every accusation deserves a defense. Not every message deserves a reply. Not every person deserves continued access to your emotions. Sometimes silence is the boundary. Sometimes distance is the answer. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is allow people to believe whatever they have chosen to believe while you continue walking with God. David learned this while running from Saul. David had been anointed to become king, but Saul still occupied the throne. Saul became jealous of David. He saw David's growth as a threat. He pursued him and attempted to prevent the future God had already chosen. David spent years waiting. He lived in uncertainty while someone who wanted to harm him continued holding power. Then David received opportunities to take matters into his own hands. He could have removed Saul and ended the conflict. Others even told David that the opportunity must have come from God. But David understood something important. An opportunity to react is not always permission from God to act. David refused to build his future through revenge. He would not obtain through anger what God had promised to give through divine timing. That restraint protected David's heart. It also protected the legitimacy of his future. When David eventually became king, no one could say he had seized the throne through personal revenge. God had established him. Your restraint may be protecting more than your peace. It may be protecting the way your next season begins. You may be able to force a result, but forced results often come with burdens God never intended you to carry. You may be able to expose someone, but God may be asking whether exposure is necessary for your healing. You may be able to win the argument and still lose your peace. You may prove that you were right and still feel empty afterward. God is offering you something better than temporary satisfaction. He is offering you freedom. Freedom from replaying the conversation. Freedom from checking whether they regret what they did. Freedom from watching their life, waiting for evidence that justice has arrived. Freedom from needing an apology before you can move forward. That freedom is part of what God is doing next. You thought the victory would be watching them change. But the victory may be realizing that their behavior no longer controls your emotions. You thought the breakthrough would be hearing them admit they were wrong. But the breakthrough may be waking up one morning and discovering that you no longer need their admission. You thought justice would feel like their humiliation. But divine justice may feel like your peace returning. Do not underestimate that kind of victory. Some people harmed you because they were able to reach places inside you that had not yet healed. They knew how to make you question yourself. They knew how to make you feel guilty for establishing boundaries. They knew how to disappear and return whenever they needed attention. They knew that you would explain, forgive, and offer another opportunity. But God has been healing the part of you that confused compassion with unlimited access. You can forgive someone and still maintain distance. You can pray for someone and still refuse to participate in their chaos. You can love people without giving them permission to repeatedly wound you. Forgiveness releases bitterness. It does not remove wisdom. God may be showing you who people truly are, not so that you can hate them, but so that you can stop building expectations upon a character they have never demonstrated. Pay attention to patterns. Listen to what actions reveal. Do not react emotionally, but do not ignore what God is teaching you. Some separations are protection. Some endings are answers. Some closed doors are mercy. At first, you may feel rejected. Later, you may realize you were redirected. At first, you may feel abandoned. Later, you may recognize that God removed a distraction. At first, you may believe you lost something important. Later, you may thank God for not allowing you to carry it into your next season. Psalm 37 teaches us not to become consumed when wrongdoers appear to succeed. Their success can create confusion. You may look at people who lied, manipulated, or mistreated others and wonder why everything seems to be going well for them. But you are only seeing a moment. You are not seeing the entire story. Do not measure God's justice by what is visible today. Appearances can hide instability. Public success can exist beside private emptiness. A smile can conceal fear. You do not know what God is correcting within another person. And it is not your responsibility to monitor their consequences. Keep your eyes on your own path. What God is preparing for you requires your attention. You have already spent enough time thinking about what they did. You have replayed it. You have analyzed it. You have imagined different responses. You have asked yourself whether you should have recognized the signs earlier. Now God is inviting you to place that energy somewhere new. Place it into your healing. Place it into your purpose. Place it into the responsibilities already in front of you. Place it into becoming so emotionally steady that the next attempt to provoke you finds no place to land. This is how you win without becoming like your enemies. You do not match their dishonesty. You do not copy their cruelty. You do not respond to manipulation with manipulation. You remain truthful. You establish boundaries. You protect your peace. You continue moving. And you allow God to handle what belongs to Him. Write "I choose peace over revenge" in the comments. Let that be your decision today. There is another reason God may be asking you not to react. The full truth has not yet been revealed. You may be responding to one piece of information while God sees the entire situation. You may believe someone rejected you when God knows they were being removed. You may believe an opportunity was stolen when God knows it would have trapped you. You may believe a delay is punishment when God knows it is preparation. A quick reaction can attach you to an incomplete understanding. Wait for clarity. Give God room to show you what is hidden. There are conversations happening that you cannot hear. There are intentions that will eventually reveal themselves. There are people who may expose their own motives simply because you stopped interrupting them. When you stop explaining, people often begin revealing. When you stop chasing, you discover who is only present because you were doing all the work. When you stop reacting, you see who depends on emotional chaos to maintain control. Silence creates space for truth to become visible. That is why your stillness is making certain people uncomfortable. They were familiar with your reaction. They knew what to expect. They could provoke you and then make your reaction the center of the story. But now you are changing the pattern. You are not giving them an emotional performance. You are not begging to be understood. You are not arguing with people committed to misunderstanding you. Your calmness removes their ability to control the narrative through your emotions. This is not coldness. This is discipline. Proverbs teaches that a person without self-control is like a city whose walls have been broken down. Self-control is protection. Every time you pause instead of reacting, you rebuild the walls around your peace. Every time you pray before speaking, you protect your future from words spoken in temporary anger. Every time you walk away from unnecessary conflict, you prove that your emotions no longer control your direction. God is creating stability within you. The next blessing will require that stability. The next opportunity will require discernment. The next level of responsibility will require the ability to remain calm when others panic. The current battle may be training you for the future. You believe this is only about an enemy. God may be using it to develop a leader. You believe this is only about betrayal. God may be teaching you discernment. You believe this is only about an unfair accusation. God may be showing you that your identity cannot remain dependent on public opinion. What they intended to weaken you may become the very thing God uses to strengthen your character. And when God begins to move, the result may surprise you. The people who spoke against you may watch others recognize your value. The door that closed may lead you toward a better opportunity. The relationship that ended may create space for healthier people. The delay that frustrated you may protect you from entering a season before you were ready. The truth may surface through a person you never expected. The accusation may lose its power because your consistent character contradicts it. You will not need to announce that God defended you. The outcome will carry His signature. Think about Esther. A plan was created against her people, and the person responsible believed his position made him untouchable. Haman had influence, he had access, he had prepared everything carefully. But he did not understand that God was already positioning Esther. He did not understand that the person he intended to destroy would be honored. He did not understand that his private intentions would eventually be exposed. Esther did not rush into the king's presence without preparation. She fasted. She waited. She approached the situation with wisdom. She did not allow fear or rage to determine her timing. And when the truth was finally revealed, the plan against her people collapsed. The lesson is not that you should celebrate the suffering of enemies. The lesson is that hidden plans are not hidden from God. Influence does not make someone greater than divine justice. Manipulation cannot cancel God's purpose. What has been arranged against you can be overturned without you becoming consumed by revenge. Your responsibility is to remain obedient. God's responsibility is the outcome. This is where many people become tired. They say they have surrendered the situation, but they continue checking it every day. They say they trust God, but they are constantly searching for proof that He is acting. They release it during prayer, then pick it up again before the day ends. You may have done this too. You told God that the situation belonged to Him. Then you checked their social media. You asked another person what they had heard. You imagined another confrontation. You searched for signs that consequences had finally arrived. That is not complete release. Release means you stop allowing the situation to occupy the center of your mind. It means you accept that God may work differently from the way you imagined. It means you trust Him even when you cannot see immediate evidence. God's silence does not mean His absence. A seed grows beneath the surface before anything becomes visible. Roots form in darkness. Foundations are built before the structure appears. God often performs His deepest work where human eyes cannot observe it. You may not see what is happening, but that does not mean nothing is happening. He may be changing your heart before changing your circumstances. He may be removing your dependence on another person's opinion. He may be exposing patterns that you previously ignored. He may be preparing you to receive something that anger would have prevented you from recognizing. Stay still long enough to learn the lesson. Do not rush out of the season only to repeat it later. Ask God what He is developing within you. Ask Him where you need stronger boundaries. Ask Him why this situation has been able to disturb you so deeply. Ask Him to reveal whether your desire for justice has slowly become a desire for revenge. There is no shame in admitting that you are angry. God already knows. Bring the anger to Him honestly. Tell Him what hurt. Tell Him what felt unfair. Tell Him what you wish you could say. Prayer is not the place where you pretend to be unaffected. It is the place where you surrender what is affecting you. David often expressed his frustration in the Psalms, but he continued bringing his heart back to trust. That is the pattern. Feel the emotion. Bring it to God. Refuse to let it become your master. You may be closer to freedom than you realize. One day, the name that currently creates tension in your body will no longer have power over you. The memory will remain, but the pain will no longer control your breathing. You will remember what happened without feeling the need to return and change it. You will understand that surviving the situation was not the end of the testimony. Healing from it was. And when your enemies see you again, they may expect to meet the wounded version of you. But they will meet someone different. Someone calmer. Someone wiser. Someone who no longer needs their approval. Someone who can recognize manipulation without participating in it. Someone whose peace is no longer available for negotiation. That transformation will speak louder than any reaction. Do not react today. Do not send the message while your heart is burning. Do not make the permanent decision in the temporary emotion. Do not return to the place God delivered you from simply because loneliness has made the past appear more beautiful than it was. Do not lower your boundaries because someone suddenly offers the apology you once desperately wanted. Listen carefully. Watch their consistency. Pray for discernment. God may restore certain relationships, but restoration requires truth, responsibility, and change. An apology without change is often only another attempt to regain access. You do not have to decide immediately. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to pray. You are allowed to protect the peace God is restoring. 2 Chronicles 20 tells of a moment when Judah faced an enemy too great for its own strength. The message they received was clear. The battle did not belong to them. It belonged to God. They still had to show up. They still had to take their position. But they did not have to depend on their own power for the victory. That is your instruction. Take your position. Your position may be prayer. Your position may be silence. Your position may be a healthy boundary. Your position may be continuing your work while others talk. Your position may be refusing to explain yourself again. Stand where God placed you. Do what is yours to do. Then leave the part you cannot control in His hands. You do not control what people say. You control what you become. You do not control whether they recognize the truth. You control whether you continue walking in truth. You do not control when consequences arrive. You control whether bitterness will occupy your heart while you wait. This is your victory. They expected you to become angry. You became disciplined. They expected you to become bitter. You became discerning. They expected you to lose your identity. You discovered that your identity was never theirs to define. They expected their rejection to stop you. God used it to redirect you. They expected your silence to mean surrender. Heaven recognized it as trust. Something is shifting within you right now. You are realizing that you do not have to attend every battle to which you are invited. You do not have to answer every voice. You do not have to prove that you are chosen. The fruit of your life will speak. Your consistency will speak. Your peace will speak. What God establishes will speak. And when the next chapter begins, you will understand why reacting would have delayed your healing. You will be grateful for every message you did not send. You will be grateful for every confrontation you avoided. You will be grateful that God gave you the strength to walk away without receiving the closure you believed you needed. Closure does not always come from a conversation. Sometimes closure comes from seeing the pattern clearly and deciding that you will no longer participate in it. Sometimes closure comes when God gives you peace without giving you every answer. Sometimes closure is the moment you stop asking why they did it and begin asking what God wants you to learn from it. Your future does not need permission from your past. Your purpose does not depend on your enemies admitting they were wrong. God can bless you without consulting the people who rejected you. He can elevate you in the presence of those who underestimated you. Psalm 23 speaks of God preparing a table in the presence of enemies. Notice that the table is prepared by God. You do not build it through revenge. You do not earn it through arguments. You do not force people to sit and watch. You simply follow the shepherd. He leads. He restores. He prepares. Your task is to remain close to Him. The table is not about humiliating anyone. It is evidence that opposition could not cancel provision. It is evidence that rejection did not remove your place. It is evidence that God's care remained active even when people acted against you. That is what they will see next. Not your revenge, your restoration, not your anger, your peace, not your desperate attempt to prove yourself. The quiet evidence that God carried you through what was designed to break you. Beloved, you may not feel strong today. You may still be processing the hurt. You may still wake up thinking about what happened. Healing does not require you to pretend. Take each day as it comes. But make one decision now. Do not give your enemies authority over your next action. Do not let their behavior write your character. Do not allow their darkness to extinguish the softness God placed within you. You can be soft and still have boundaries. You can be kind and still say no. You can forgive and still move forward without them. You can remain silent without surrendering your truth. God sees you. He knows the full story. He knows how much restraint has cost you. He knows how many times you almost reacted. He saw you type the message and delete it. He saw you cry privately and then continue fulfilling your responsibilities. He saw you choose prayer when anger felt easier. He saw you protect someone's name even after they damaged yours. Nothing offered in obedience is wasted. The time is coming when you will see the fruit of the discipline being developed within you. You will handle situations differently. You will recognize warning signs earlier. You will stop confusing chaos with connection. You will stop calling anxiety love. You will stop believing that you must abandon yourself to keep another person. You will understand that peace is not boring. Peace is safe. Peace is valuable. Peace is evidence that you are no longer addicted to emotional instability. This may be the greatest thing God does next. He may not change your enemies immediately. He may change the part of you that remained accessible to them. He may not silence every voice speaking against you. He may make their voices irrelevant to your identity. He may not return everything you lost in the same form. He may give you something healthier, clearer, and more aligned with the person you have become. Trust the form of restoration God chooses. Do not limit Him to replacing what left. He may be preparing something entirely new. A new environment, new relationships, new opportunities, a new level of peace, a new understanding of yourself, a new courage that does not need to be loud. The next time someone tries to provoke you, remember this message. Pause, breathe, pray. Ask whether your response will produce peace or prolong chaos. Ask whether you are acting from wisdom or wounded pride. Ask whether God is inviting you to speak or teaching you to be still. Then obey the answer. Your enemies do not decide your future. Their words do not cancel God's purpose. Their rejection does not reduce your value. Their misunderstanding does not change the truth. Their temporary influence does not make them more powerful than God. Do not react. Watch what God does next. Watch Him strengthen you. Watch Him clarify the truth. Watch Him remove confusion. Watch Him expose patterns. Watch Him restore your confidence. Watch Him place the right people around you. Watch Him turn what wounded you into wisdom that protects you. Watch Him teach you that the peace you once begged others to give you was something He could build within you. And when the situation finally shifts, remain humble. Do not celebrate another person's pain. Do not become proud. Do not use your restoration as an opportunity to humiliate anyone. Remember how it felt to be wounded. Let the experience produce compassion, not cruelty. You are not becoming like the people who harmed you. You are becoming more like the God who carried you. If this message found you at the moment you were about to react, take it as your invitation to pause. Put the phone down. Step away from the conversation. Give yourself time to pray. You do not need to decide everything today. You do not need to answer immediately. What is truly meant for you will not require you to betray your peace. Say this quietly within your heart. God, I give you this battle. Protect my heart from bitterness. Protect my mouth from words I will regret. Give me wisdom to know when to speak and when to remain silent. Help me establish boundaries without hatred. Help me forgive without returning to unhealthy patterns. Reveal the truth in your time. Defend what needs to be defended. Remove what needs to be removed. Restore what aligns with your purpose. And while I wait, continue changing me. Make me steady. Make me discerning. Make me peaceful. Make me strong enough not to react. The battle belongs to you. My future belongs to you. My reputation belongs to you. My healing belongs to you. I trust what you are doing even when I cannot yet see it. Amen. Beloved, keep walking. Let them talk. Let God work. Let your character remain consistent. What is hidden will eventually become clear. What was intended to delay you will become part of your development. What tried to steal your peace will teach you how valuable that peace truly is. You are not losing because you refuse to react. You are protecting the person God is calling you to become. And what God does next may not only surprise your enemies. It may surprise you too. Your silence was not empty. Your restraint was not wasted. Your waiting was not weakness. God was working through all of it. Do not react. Remain faithful. Remain peaceful. And watch what God does next.